Welcome to the Global Queens podcast, or Resilient Voices International Women's Day podcast series. Here we spotlight extraordinary women leading with courage, purpose, and impact. And today I'm extremely honored to be joined by Ekua Cant, a paid speaker coach on a mission to help 1 million diverse speakers get paid by 2030. So Ekua believes fear isn't a stop sign. It's a signal that you're stepping into growth. So, in this conversation, we'll explore what it truly means to redefine fearless leadership and how each of us can step forward even when fear is present. So, Ikwa, welcome. It's wonderful to have you with us.
Oh, thank you, Magda. I'm really delighted to be on the podcast today and for us to have this conversation. It's really timely that we are speaking about women's voices and empowering others to speak up and to show up and to be visible.
Thank you. So, your mission is to help 1 million diverse speakers get paid by 2030, which is awesome. What was the catalyst behind this bold vision, and how does it connect to your philosophy of redefining fearless leadership?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I want to start with a story. And even before I tell that story, I want to just share why the movement is important to me. So the movement is important to me because it's not an abstract thing. I am my own client. Also, I'm building a movement to help others to be empowered to get paid to speak. What does that mean? That means that I know that there are many of us out there who've got expertise, who are being asked to speak, and who do it naturally and who give of their time. And that's brilliant and wonderful. I love that for us. And in fact, one of the things that I actually have been teaching on recently is what it means to truly step into our power as diverse speakers. And some of us are really aligned to charitable causes. And in so doing, some of us think that actually it might be wrong or greedy or not in alignment to seek payment for being paid to speak, and actually I want to break down that myth and that sort of story or people have got in their minds, because actually to me the highest service is if I, as a good person who is wanting to change worlds, to give money to charity, to help others in their own movement, the best way that I can do that is to have money to give to those causes, or to in fact feed into those causes. And there's, in my mind, no shadow of a doubt, any reason that you should not get paid. So I want to underline this before I even get into the story I'm going to tell, because I think that sometimes people think that goodness, the faith of doing that work, there is something that is incorrect by getting paid, and it's only those who want to get paid for profit, and that's the only reason, and that is not the only reason. So I just want to make sure that we know this, so that if you think that you can have this opportunity to walk a different path. So that's the first thing. The second thing is about the question that you actually asked me is, I am one of those people that is being served by this mission. So in a way, it's selfish, but I'm selfishly helping myself and others to actually be paid. And what the story that made me do this is that a couple of years ago, I was approached by a government organization to speak for the entrepreneurship program. I didn't pitch. They emailed me. They said that, Akua, we really like what you're doing out there. We want you to speak for half an hour, whatever it was. And it was a great opportunity. And I was going to get lots of, be in front of a lot of people and all this great stuff. But nowhere in that email did they mention payment. And to me, it struck me as very odd because, as I described, it's a public sector body which the government gives them money, gives them a budget, £1 million budget, to actually do their work. So for them to come to me and to ask me to give of my time and my expertise to provide a quality product, which they obviously want, to bring into their program, which is obviously a funded program, why would I then just say yes and not be paid? But I had to be able to be thinking, I need to do this. So this is the thing. We have habits and behaviors, and that's part of what I teach in my program, is that actually we need to be mindful that people who have money don't necessarily want to offer it to us. And that's hard to hear.
Yeah.
Actually, we actually have to advocate for ourselves and ask to be paid. And so this request has come after, a lot of requests I've had for people asking me to speak without, without showing any budget. And so I said, actually, no, I can't do this because I feel like it just seems so wrong of this organization of this size to come to me
Yeah.
without any budget. So I asked actually in my coaching group about this. At that time, I wasn't as aware as I was about how to communicate effectively about, what's the budget. So then I just essentially asked, what's the budget? And Magda, it was a night and day response. So, they were going to take all of my time and effort to do this
Yeah.
work and, not pay me. When I said, what's the budget? They were like, oh, yes, Ekua, we do have a budget. And yes, we're going to pay you 4 figures. And I was like, excuse me?
Yeah.
You came to me knowing you had 4 figures to give, but you did
Mm-hmm.
not.
4 figures.
Yes. So it was 0 at first, went to 4 figures because I asked, and this is what I want to say, because I
Yeah,
asked,
because you
only
asked.
because I asked. So I know that this has
So
been
that's a very important thing to share. Maybe you should make more noise about that bit, because that's got my attention.
great. And this is one of the stories that I tell over and over again because
Yeah.
it's so important, because you would think that a government body with millions of pounds would
Yeah.
not be doing this practice, but
Yeah.
all of the organizations, no matter what size, and again, what I taught them in masterclass from my program was that they are always seeking to do the best deal for them. So what normally happens is the opening offer will be something that is very basic, and it's upon us as diverse speakers to ask and not to be shy and coming forward, because
Yeah.
part of the problem and part of why I'm teaching about the mindset and the behaviors is because we have to ask every time and be fearless about that and not feel awkward, because actually if we don't ask, as I just demonstrated in that example, they would have taken that and
Yeah.
I would have been paid 0 and they would have kept their 4-figure fee.
Yeah. Absolutely. Wow. Yeah, that's a revelation I'm taking with me now. How many 4 figures have I left behind? You often say that fear is normal and that we don't need to wait for it to disappear before taking action. So, can you share a more personal moment when you had to lead while feeling fear and how you moved forward anyway?
Yeah, so this is a very great question. And I want to start by saying that fear is normal, and that it's part of our normal human reactions and responses. And, it is about understanding that it has a role to play, but it's not a break. It's actually just for us to know that that is part of our normal behavior and not to ignore it, to acknowledge it, but then to make the plans to take action and to move forward, to be in fabulous communities like Magda's and others, to make sure that we are supported and we're able to take action. So one of the things I wanted to describe in the story is I obviously pitched for speaking gigs, and I received a lot of failure and rejection. That's part of the process. But in one instance, there was a stage that I really wanted, and it's called Brighton SEO. So it's a marketing conference, and I really wanted to be on this stage. And I'd pitched to them in the past, and I'd been rejected. But last year, I'm on the mailing list. They emailed me to say that they're running a competition to win tickets to their conference. So I was like, oh, amazing. So I entered myself into the competition because one of the things we need to do as speakers is to actually get intelligence and insights. We need to actually go into the room. We need to be attendees. We need to watch the speakers that they have chosen, to
Yeah.
see what is being shared, to show what kinds of topics are being talked about, and to build connections with the event organizers, the speaker bookers, and all those folks. Now, I'd never been to the Brighton SEO conference, so by winning a ticket to the conference, I was like, this is a great way for me to go there for free. Yay! But this is the twist in the story. So, unbeknownst to me, they have 2 conferences. So one that is in Brighton, UK, and one that's in San Diego, America. And at the time I entered this competition, I did not know that I was entering the one for the American ticket.
No.
So I got the email back saying, I'd won the ticket. And I was like, excellent, great. And then I looked at the email again. I was like, wait, this is not Brighton, UK. This is San Diego. And I was like, oh, okay, this is not quite what I had anticipated. So then I was like, well, actually, I really want to be on this stage. I had a choice to make. Do I
Yeah.
basically say, no, this is not, for me, or do I take action, lean into this moment? So I decided to take action, lean into this moment. I decided to convince my husband to go on a holiday to San Diego so that I could attend the conference to pitch to this organization. Because the reason that I wanted to pitch for this stage particularly is because I am particular about the stages that I go on. And this stage is one that I know values diverse speakers. That I know in their community, they are very intentional about being inclusive, welcoming, and I wanted to be on that stage to show people that this is a stage that you should also come onto, because they are doing something that I see that is right in the world, because not all stages are the same, and not all stages value diversity in that way. So it was something that I was really aligned with. So I was like, you know what, I'm prepared to spend money to go and to pitch, have
Absolutely.
a nice holiday. And by the way, it was the best holiday we've had in our lifetime, so it's great.
Plus, it was an international stage.
Indeed. But the point about the story is that, you know, part of this was seeing rejection as fuel. You know, in Magda's
Right.
amazing book,
Yes.
you know, The Global Queen's book, I wrote a chapter about, you know,
Yes, you
turning,
did.
yes, I
Yes.
did, turning your feedback into fuel. And the part that is important here is that that stage had rejected me. And I could have been like, you know what, that's the end. But actually, I was like, no, that's data. Let me just use that as information to go again, to use this opportunity to actually go to their event, to gather intelligence, to actually see it live, and
Yeah.
to actually be intentional and to ask who books the speakers for this event, to meet them, to ask them what makes a good application, for them to tell me, you know, have a conversation so I know what I need to put in there, and to apply again. And what did I do? I had a conversation with that person. I
Yes.
went back, I applied, and guess what? I'm speaking at Brighton SEO this year. And so the
Amazing.
point is, we need to basically take that data that we get and not just see it as the end. And if we
Yes.
are really aligned to that stage, to make sure that we are putting ourselves into the room, going to those events, we are speaking to the people, or asking if we don't know who it is that, you know, books the speakers, we find out who it is, and we have a conversation with them, and to ask them, how can we improve? How can we, you know, have a better opportunity to be on that stage if it is the right one for us?
Wow. Thank you. This is amazing. I love the perseverance in that whole story. I love it. I love the, not seeing rejection as rejection, but as a setback, but as an opportunity to even explore further and see what else, and even getting something way better than you thought, because the whole journey has been much more exciting rather than if you had the first time being given the stage and that's it. Like, it's a story, but it's not as exciting as the one you've just shared now. And it's all because of the perspective and the approach to addressing rejection there. Thank you. And I love one thing about you, Aqua. If there's one person I would say is very visible, it's you. You're very visible on LinkedIn, and that's my favorite social media place anyway. So through your work, you help diverse leaders build visibility and confidence. Who better to train people about that? What is the biggest barrier women face when it comes to visibility, and what is one practical way they can begin strengthening their visibility muscle today?
Mm. So again, I would like to share that I haven't always been this confident or this visible on LinkedIn. This is a 5 years, almost 6-year journey. So
Right.
what people are seeing now is the result of many, many years of practicing and failing, and not being in this space. So that is the first thing to say before I even go on to say anything. Because again, it's so easy for us to see where people are now and not acknowledge the journey. There's always a journey. No one ever wakes up one day and becomes like the queen of visibility. They have to learn, they have to be intentional and decide that that's what they want to do. And then they're like anybody, they're not going to know what to do. So what they're going to have to do is to test and to try and to get help and support and to learn from others. And that's exactly what I did. So this is what I want to say, that, where I am now, I'm very pleased about where I am today and the work that I've done and the work I'm doing to help others to do this work, but it did not happen overnight. It's taken years. That's the first thing to say. The second thing to say about this work is actually it's more about your internal belief than actually any hooks or any tools for communication. The first thing I want to say about what is actually the thing that I've learned about visibility is it's inside out. So what I mean
Hmm.
by this is, yes, obviously we want to be able to post and to communicate and to get, build following and people to understand our message and it to resonate. Obviously that's what we want to do. But before we even do that, we need to come at it from a place of positive alignment. We need
Hmm.
to see what we're doing as an opportunity for us to be visible, to get opportunities, for us to, share our truths, our expertise, all that we have to share it in the world, and that's not about perfection and it's not about, always, winning, but it is about understanding that inherently that you are worthy. I am worthy, I have to reference the fact that from Jesse Jackson recently died. He was someone that I met in my lifetime, and it's truly upsetting to me that he's passed recently.
So
But
real.
the point that I want to make about this is he said, I am worthy. I am, I should be seen. I should be heard. I am proud of the skin that I'm in.
Yeah.
And that was something that is super valuable. And it speaks to the visibility challenge. And that is that it comes from you ultimately accepting you. So one of the things that I've had to, this is slightly off script, but this is what I want to say, is that basically when I realized what it took to be visible, like I realized that I was judging myself. And where I was judging myself was in the fact that, I am dyslexic, I've got dyscalculia, and I make mistakes. So before I was this confident, I used to be quite hung up on, thinking, oh, what if someone slides into my DMs today? Because there
Yeah.
used to be a perfectionist brigade that will come after you and say, oh, you have made a mistake in your post today. Are you aware of that? And I'm like, well, is that all you have to say? Like, you've got time just to waste on that. And the
Yeah.
irony of today's day and age is that in the AI age, people want you to make mistakes because then they know you're human.
It makes more human. Actually, yeah, that's so
Exactly.
true.
That's quite, and it's such a full circle thing that in the 6 years I've been on the platform, and that people have changed their tune. They're like, "Oh, thank goodness you made a mistake today, Ekua." I'm like, "Okay, great."
So true, because when you're reading a post, you're thinking, is it real? But you can just tell when it flows too well. You think it's AI, isn't it?
Right, but the point is, you know, you
It's
first need
interesting.
to see yourself and lead yourself. And what that means is that you need to be like knowing that what you're putting out there is valuable. So that's the first step to visibility. And you're asking, what's the first step you can take? And I think it's to give yourself a challenge and
Yeah.
to understand that actually what we're seeking to do is not about likes or engagement. It's the challenge of seeing ourselves as valuable and worthy and putting out the content and asking for support. So it's a two-pronged process. So one, we are deciding that we are wanting to go forward. Two, we are going to actually get support and accountability. And three, we know the real reason is not for the likes and engagement. It's actually about providing something that's helpful and it's going to help people. It's going to share your journey. It's going to share your insights, and you're going to be able to make the ask that you're seeking to ask. And that really is the thing. So preparing to actually be seen. And what I mean by this, and I'm not an expert in these areas, but I will go into this slightly, is like you need to emotionally regulate yourself, right?
Yeah.
So what I mean by that is you need to be able to be in a calm space for you to be able to actually think about what do I want to say today,
Hmm.
and not thinking, oh, I'm going to be judged, or it's not good enough, or I'm not expert enough, or I'm not senior enough. Whatever you might think, you need to put that to one side and be like, okay, I want to post. So in that case, what I need to do is perhaps I need to do some breathing exercises. I might need to take a walk, go to the gym, but you need to come to be able to write and create from a place of
Yeah.
calm and clarity. That's the first thing we need to do, to create that space for calm. Once we are then calm, we then need to think about what is it that we want to say. And then this is the thing about where we are now. We don't need to write War and Peace. In fact, we can do it in many different ways. We can use, we can record it, we can write it, you can use AI tools. There's so many ways that you can create content. You can
Yeah.
even do it when you're out and about. But the thing that we have to come back to is the acceptance of ourselves and what we're going to put out there. Because a
Yeah.
lot of the time, I know that people are perfecting and they're not putting stuff out there because they're like, oh, what if I make a mistake? What if someone judges me? But I want to remind us, actually, our goal here is to think about, how can I serve? If I can help one person, then actually I should put it out there. If you know that you can help one person, put it out there. And secondly, if you're afraid about getting likes and comments or whatever, find a friend, ask them to like a comment. It's an easy process, but you have to decide and commit to do the thing.
Yeah. Wow. This is proper visibility muscle training that you've just given us. Thank you, Aqua. And you emphasize that everyone has something valuable to teach and share, which is true. We all have something to teach and to share. How can women who feel they are not expert enough, and I always say we women always do this to ourselves, we always think we're not good enough on something. So how can women who don't feel they are expert enough begin to recognize and own their unique value?
Mm. So, yes, I think that for me, it's about getting hung up on labels. Like, I don't think we need to get hung up on the word expert. I think what I would say is reframe how reframe what that means to you. So if expert is a word that doesn't align with you, maybe you can say experience,
Mm.
someone who's got something of value to say, but ultimately you come up with a phrase that is around you, understanding your expertise, your value, the value that you're going to bring, essentially. So for me, it's a reframing of that phrase, because I do see a lot of people getting in the reads about what that word means. And I think that is not the real thing. That's avoidance, really. Yeah, this is the coach coming out of here.
Yes, yes. I think it's all in the head sometimes, isn't it? Because we judge ourselves quite harshly sometimes as well. We're comparing ourselves with someone else and thinking, okay, that person knows better than I do, or that person has been in that industry for way longer, so I'm not at that level. So our definition of expert is kind of much based on what we think or how we see someone else, and it's doing us a disfavor.
Yes, but it comes back to what I said just before, is can
Yeah.
I help one person with what I'm going to share? And
Yes.
that is, to me, it's about any level, you know? It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be a certain, you know, experience level, because everyone has got something to share that's of value. And if you can help one person, then you should go ahead and put that thing out there. So for me, it's
Awesome.
about reframing what that word means to you and deciding how that you're going to share and put right out in the world. And secondly, reminding yourself that you're helping one person. And if that's your only goal, then you need to go out and put out there. In fact, I want to make it even stronger. Because we need to get people off the bench. So imagine that whatever your one thing is the cure to someone's illness that could save their life. That's how you need to think about this. Because if you think
Yeah.
about it in that way, then you're not going to be as reluctant to
To
stop
share.
yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're gonna want to be sharing that. I mean, most people, you know, would want to help others. They would want to save lives. So if you reframe it to that situation, then yes, you're still gonna be afraid that, and that's fine. But actually, you're gonna be more incentivized to put that out there. And as I said, have a buddy system where you ask a friend in one of these communities to be like, you know what, it'd be great if you'd be the first person to engage with it, so I can be encouraged to carry on, because I know I have,
Yeah.
you know, great things to share.
Yeah, that's actually true. Thank you. That's really helpful. It's in our head again. Thank you. What does fearless leadership look like for you today? And what is one step every woman in this room can take this week to step into her fearless self?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I would say treat it as an experiment. You know, treat putting yourself out there as an experiment, which you are testing and you're getting results. And these results, they're neither good nor bad. They are just results. But in order to get results, what do we have to do? We have to test and put ourselves out there. So I
Absolutely.
encourage you to test, putting out the post, making the ask, you know, following up, whatever thing that you need to do. It's about having a testing, curious mindset to put ourselves out there. And as I said, don't do it alone. Do it in community. Magnus Fabulous Community. I have a fabulous community. It's called the Get Paid to Speak community. There is a free monthly session every month that's called Paid Speaker Connections. But join communities that allow you to feel supported to take the action that you need to do.
And I have to say, one of our previous podcast guests gave an amazing feedback about Equa's community. So please check her out on LinkedIn and all the other social media channels. You will be doing yourself a big favor to build your career in that space. Thank you so much, Ekua. Thank you for that powerful and honest conversation.
Oh, thank you, Maggie, for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. So you reminded us that fearless leadership isn't about eliminating fear. It's about choosing to move forward despite it. And your message is both liberating and deeply empowering. So to our listeners, ask yourself, what is one step you're ready to take, even if fear is present? Thank you for joining us on the Queen's Couch podcast, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you.